Hello to all of our change makers. And we've got another amazing week here with some incredible people that we've already been interviewing today. And Miss Jennifer Regular, who is here with us today, is just another shining star that y'all need to know about. So thank you for being with me today, Jennifer.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so excited for this. I love how you're celebrating change makers.
That's what it's all about because, yes, we all need to be celebrated together. There's no doubt about that. So, please tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what makes you so amazing.
Yeah, okay. What makes me so amazing? Well, that's a tall order. Yeah, well, I appreciate how you're celebrating change makers because a lot of us have met a lot of resistance along the way. People who just don't get it, don't understand, and a lot of us being, well, I'll talk about myself that, people pleaser, perfectionist, trying to conform and perform and meet expectations, not being really happy or fulfilled in doing that because it didn't lead to the outcomes you thought that they would, right? And so, you know what? I think I'm going to try a different way and maybe actually be myself.
Mm-hmm.
When I was as a service provider for over 20 years, I was really excited about it. I was enthusiastic, wanting to help people, of course, right? Like
Hmm.
many of us do. We want to help people, want to save the world, we want to elevate humanity, save the planet, whatever it might be. We had big dreams, big visions, and a lot of it started out with enthusiasm and working in as a service provider in social services for those decades. It was become disillusioned very quickly because you realize you're in the system, and
Hmm.
so you end up wanting the transformation, but ending up in these transactional cycles and having to conform to certain rules and procedures and policies. And realizing after 16 different roles within that, trying to find my place, that there is no system. It's broken, it's limiting, it doesn't hold people up to self empowerment. It actually keeps people really small. And in doing that and working against my values, I started losing myself and my enthusiasm, like I said, and my vision for wanting to help and just being able to push paperwork a lot of the time, really, instead of pushing
Hmm.
people up to elevating them to the place where they feel empowered and can truly grow. Yes, I had value. Yes, I made a difference doing that work, and I'm really grateful for that. But I suffered compassion fatigue, adrenal fatigue, just trying to work with the system that really wasn't working. And so I had to find another way to be able to heal and empower myself and to radiate that to other people. And that's when I discovered sacred stewardship. What was I really here for, anyways? And how can I best do that? I first had to first be the kind of person that level of leadership required, and so to really have that transformational impact, I had to move beyond the exhaustion and obligation, the fear and the guilt and all of the things that go along with the things that obscure our vision of what reality is, and really hone in on who I needed to be aligned with my values, my passion, my purpose. And it was interesting. I remember lying in bed, I wrote about this in The Ultimate Guide to Leaving Your Legacy, about passion. Because when I felt completely depleted, exhausted, I had gone through tremendous loss and bankruptcy, the home, husband, family, all of the things. We
Hmm.
won't get into details with at the moment. I was lying there. I'm like, being a visionary without a vision was like not existing at all. So I was just there, barely existing, wondering what was in my future, what was next. And in this space, in this complete surrender, I got a different perspective of what passion actually is, Cheyenne. And it's not just energy, it's actually a calling because it's in the word itself. When you break up the word passion, it's pass I on. And that
Hmm.
I is your soul's expression of what you're here to pass on in this lifetime. Some even say that I is your impact that you're here to have when you go on. And it's mentioned all the loss that I suffered that way. I also suffered a lot of loss through family and friends. And I mean, way more than any human has ever discovered. in this lifetime. And so I had a lot of exposure, Cheyenne, to what people talked about at those wakes and the funerals and celebrations of life. And it wasn't what people did, it was actually more about their qualities, the experiences they had with that person. And that's where the transformation really happens. That's where the impact happens, especially for visionaries, change makers, because it's our energy and our passion that has the greatest impact, not what we say or do. That really doesn't matter as much as being in our presence, being in our proximity, being together, united in a shared vision and values. That's what elevates humanity. That's lighting the path to the profound impact and collective transformation. And that's why I love hanging out with you, Cheyenne, because you're all about that too.
Yeah.
So, really, that's kind of what happened is just finding my way back to myself, restoring my energy, my passion, my values, seeing it through that lens, and really going into deeper alignment with all of that so that I can get into the sacred stewardship of what my I is to pass on, which is about sacred leadership.
Mm, nice. Wow. Okay, so you've gained clarity over what that I is that you're supposed to pass on. So, what is it that you're in the process of creating?
I'm restoring what it actually means to be a leader. So if you go back to the etymology of the word leader, it's lidere, which means to guide and bring forth. So the visionaries, the transformational coaches, the change makers, this is what we're doing. We're guiding and bringing forth the gifts that we came here to give and to share with humanity, and guiding and bringing forth other leaders in that as well to steward that. And
Mm.
so, sacred leadership, I say the word sacred because leadership is a very sacred role. People are looking to you to lead, to follow, to shine light on what it is that they're meant to do, what their strengths are, so that we can elevate humanity and evolve as a species on this planet that is so hostile, as we know, right? We were talking before this call about all of the conditions that have been created to create drama and trauma and chaos, right? And steer us
Mhm.
away from who we truly are and what we came here to do. So I'm here to restore that, to help us see leadership in a more sacred way, to be able to rise into that calling and to lead the way for holding that sacred responsibility for being here at this time to create beauty and change in this world and transform from the inside out. Because as we know, we are the change, we are the resource for people. And so that's what sacred leadership is all about. So I created, my business is called Lighting the Path, and that's essentially what I do, illuminating the way to that and to that deeper alignment and to navigate the shift from our career into our calling. Whether that means literally that you're moving out of your career, your corporate career, and into your calling, or you're seeing your role within your career in a new light as your calling, and how you can
Mm.
steward that and be a fuller expression of who you are through that role. You are there for a reason. You are doing what you're meant to be doing, only you can do it in a much more aligned and fulfilling way if you look at it as your calling, or step away from it because maybe you've gotten as far as you did, like I did in social services, and moved into being able to support people in another way, in a more elevated way that is aligned with who you are, because it is that deep alignment that creates deeper connection. And so the Leadership Ascension Alliance is a mastermind that I've created to bring forth all of that with people, to create a safe space and environment for those of us who kind of gone off on our own, you know. And so we create our own order and system and environment and be able to share, because that's something that people miss from like normal workspaces, is that ability to connect, to create, to collaborate, to just talk with each other like around the water cooler, the work family, right? It's
Mhm.
creating that. And so I've created an environment for that. And I've also created a career to calling portal for people to gather either group or individual mentorship so that they can restore their sense of self and sense of purpose.
Wow. I'm listening to the words you're using and I'm laughing. I don't know if you can see the above here, but it's connect, collaborate, create.
Yeah, it's kind of in the background, but there we go. Yeah. connect,
Y-
create, and collaborate. We got to
That's
collaborate to elevate. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. So are you doing more with individuals right now or more like group coaching and mentoring, or have you got kind of a combination of both going on?
There is a combination of both going on. I really love the group work because I love the collaboration, the elevation when it happens when more people are gathered and different people are sharing their strengths and, you know, have that opportunity to work with each other and collaborate. But I'm actually finding that a lot of people are approaching me for private mentorship, the one to
Mhm.
one support. And I think part of that is because we may not want to be seen in our most vulnerable,
Mm,
or when we're seen so highly because of the professions that we've had in the past or roles that we've held, and it's a little scary to show the more vulnerable side of who we are. And so the private mentorship bridges that healing and leadership. And so
mm,
I'm finding that a lot of people have been asking for that. So I've opened up some spots for that again, where I was just focusing on like the speaking, the writing, and group work. Now I opened it back up to the mentorship because that's what people are asking for. And so, you know what? I'll meet you where you're at.
that's the best thing to do for sure.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Um, I had a thought and now it just escaped me. That's unusual.
Woo.
Oh, I know what it was. I'm
Okay.
curious. I mean, do you have any success story that you can share of how you helped somebody?
The thing I hear over and over and over again is you got me to think differently. You've inspired me.
Uh,
And there's something that gets activated once people start aligning with their essential truth that now they can take action on. And so I've seen people move, I've seen people leave their career and lead successful businesses. And so there's just something that once you get real, it gets activated. And then you can evolve and ascend into your next level of being and working. And so, yeah, it's being able to think differently.
mhm. Such a key, and it's something that we all get into these ruts. You have
Yes.
to create new neural pathways in the brain, right?
You do, and to regulate the nervous system as well,
Mm,
because that really rules so many of so much of our decisions, and can dysregulate or regulate us in the way that we are being and showing up in the world and
mm,
interfere with our growth. Or it can
mm.
be a catalyst for growth. And
Yeah.
that's why having a coach or a mentor or just having, a group that gets you where you don't have to prove or perform or, it's really helpful to have that support system in place for that, and yeah, to be able to regulate the nervous system. That's why I bring my healing arts into it as well, where it applies for integrated energy therapy, shamanic practices, that all supports in that soul remembrance, and bringing back all those parts of us into a cohesive whole, so that we can offer what's best of us rather than what's left of us. And that's a
Mm.
quote by someone I can't remember the name of at the moment, Katie something. You'll have to look it up to find the actual source of that. But I love that, bringing the best
Yes,
of us rather than what's left of
left
us
of us.
to the people
That's
who
huge.
means the most to us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I'm kind of curious on your perspective because it wasn't all that long ago
Mhm.
that I got these heavy vibes from the universe that because I was doing a lot of personal development stuff with, professional level people and I got really heavy with this whole idea that some of that development work needed to be pushed down to the level of some of the folks like what you might have been working with as a social worker. I'm
Mm.
just curious. I mean, how do you perceive that? I mean, it sounds like it's not part of your calling at the moment, but it has been integrated as part of mine. So, I mean, and in fact, the words that I ended up getting was all of my people need to have access to be able to rise up if they so desire. I mean, what are
Absolutely.
your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I mean, a lot of the issues that I've seen people still have,
True.
addictions, insecurity in their housing, in their place of where they're living right now, being able to have those basic needs met, and mostly mental health. Mental health and
Mm.
addictions is still very prominent and part of recovery from broken systems and authority that led us in the wrong direction in our lives. And so, I mean, if we go way back, I actually went to school thinking I was going to be a clinical forensic psychologist. So I went from working with serial killers to working with serial entrepreneurs. So
Wow.
it's like, what do they have in common, right?
Okay. Yeah,
You'd be
that is
surprised,
pretty
actually.
good.
And that's a little bit in that last book that I mentioned too.
Oh.
But really, ultimately, it actually brings me back to the first book that I had self-published about embracing your power. And it's a healing journal of self-discovery, which is a healing journey as well about a pilgrimage to our heart's truest desire.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow.
Which to give and be and share love. Love. And you talked about that heaviness, and love is an acronym for lots of vital energy. So you're not in the place of love if you're feeling heavy or low vibration, low energy. That's where the disorders and the disease is created.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
definitely. Whew,
Yeah.
amazing stuff. Well, where do you see all of this going? I mean, you've taken on a lot of different pieces to a larger puzzle. I love the
Mhm.
fact that you talk about broken systems because that's a huge amount of what I talk about with a lot of people is, we can't sit around and wait for somebody else to do something to fix these systems. Buckminster Fuller said, "We need to create new systems that make the old ones obsolete," and that's what you're up to. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
what do you envision in the future? Where do you think you can take all of this?
Oh, I think that, if we really pass on that that we're here to do, we can co-create global harmony. And that sounds like a lofty vision, but it's something that's entirely possible when we choose to pass on that that we're here to pass on, because then we create that harmony, right? We're all singing to our own tune,
Mhm,
to our own heartbeat, and the system that we want to, I wouldn't even say fix, but to nurture, to heal, to tend to is our nervous system
mm.
as well. Because our
Yeah.
nervous system wasn't meant to handle the way the world is right now. That's
Oh
why we're
my gosh.
seeing all of the issues that are coming up for people.
That
It's
is true.
really
Oh,
wreaking havoc on our physical and mental and spiritual well-being. And that's why so many people are talking more and more how important soul care, self-care is right now,
mm,
to really restore our sense of self,
absolutely.
to really take care of ourselves, because we're not taking care of ourselves. How can we take care of anything else? I mean, that's probably a big part of the We Care partnerships that you're involved in, right, Cheyenne?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and We Care is really designed to encourage building a bridge, I guess is a good way to put it, because I know when I first stepped out into the entrepreneurial world, I was doing organizational development consulting, I was doing career coaching, I was doing a lot of those things. But that's where, this vision came that there needed to be more of a bridge to help more of the folks who are trapped in that system that you
Mm.
decided you had to escape from.
Mhm.
Because I know we got trapped there for a little bit of time too when we lost the house and all this stuff kind of fell
Mm.
apart in our lives.
Mm.
And that became our motivation for creating things like We Care partnerships. So for us, it's now okay. So, we've got these amazing services that are all about health, wealth, and peace, you
Mm.
know,
Mhm.
and but now we also have a partnership with a nonprofit to raise funds so that we can offer some of these things to people who are trapped in the system.
Ah,
So
fantastic.
that's what
Yeah.
We Care Partnerships is really about, is finding the small business owners who go, you know, I don't need to get paid the same to help in some of these other communities as I might, from the professional level world, but I need to get paid something because there's too many hurting people out here and I can't donate to them all. So
That's right.
that's the gap that we're filling is,
Hmm.
people caring enough about some of the other pieces of our community that they're willing to work with us and we work to raise the funds to get them paid to help.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for your
Mm.
service and the work that you do.
It's a challenge, but I'm sure you've been through a lot of your own as well. So
Yes.
so with all the things you've got there, I mean, do you see yourself collaborating with other business owners? Are the people that you're mentoring somehow supposed to kind of grow into a place where they become collaborators with you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've hosted some events called Collaborate to Elevate, actually. And this is part
Awesome.
of the Leadership Ascension Alliance is being able to mastermind with each other and create an environment that is very supportive to the collective mission.
Mm,
We all have our own way of doing the shared vision that we all have for the world, right? And so it's a beautiful opportunity to connect and to collaborate and to elevate in that way. And so it's they say mastermind because that's the word we're most familiar with, but it's really connecting heart to heart.
yeah.
It's like a heart mind, if that was such a thing, right?
Oh, I think it
A heart
is.
mind.
I think it
Yeah.
is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
there is an energy of the heart that's very strong, and when you can connect those, then it's like you can access a whole nother level of intelligence, awareness, and gosh only knows what else.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Mhm.
Beautiful. Well, please tell people how they can find you. How do they connect with you if they're interested in more of what you are all about?
Sure, absolutely. You can see the kind of people that I support and have conversations with on the YouTube channel that I have. It's Awaken and Ascend. So you're welcome to check that out. There's a couple other podcasts and several videos on there as well, and a lot of places where you can gather some inspiration and just see and hear other people's journeys that are probably quite similar to your own because I've interviewed people from all around the world. And even in those cultural differences, we all kind of follow a certain transformational cycle that we all go through. And you might find yourself part of that as well. And so there's that. And there's also the Inspired Living blog that I have on my website. So the one place to go to find all of it, the podcast, the website, the different things that I offer, you just go to lightingthepath.ca. And you'll also find a Sacred Leaders Compass that you can download as well, a very mapful kind of guide that bridges the purposeful leadership and your sacred legacy. And it's very self reflective, gives you some insight, some vision, and support through what you might need to navigate so that you can really step into your divine purpose and be able to steward that in the best possible way.
Wow, awesome. Sounds beautiful. We appreciate it very much. I know you're not in the Facebook world right now, but this will also be on YouTube. I encourage you to go into the comments on YouTube and put any information there that you'd like to share with people for
Sure.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that would be awesome. So with all that said, any wonderful words of wisdom you'd like to leave people with today?
It's really my motto, and that is to free your spirit to direct the life that you're meant to live.
Ooh, free your spirit. That is the essence of our spirit, isn't it? Freedom.
Yes. So much liberation in that. Mhm.
Yes. Well, thank you for holding the space for that so that more people can find that freedom and live in that passion that they are supposed to live in. And it has been a joy to have you with us. And we thank all of our change makers for checking in and getting to know a little bit about Miss Jennifer. And I look forward to seeing you guys all in the next interview. Have an amazing day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.